Good morning, my name is Dr. Solini Ghosh. I am Assistant Professor in the Department of Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine, Santosh Medical College. Today my topic is congestive heart failure and its management. So our learning objectives would be definition, types of heart failure, causes, clinical manifestation, signs of CCF in infants, physical examination, management, prognosis and complications. So what is heart failure? State in which the heart cannot deliver an adequate cardiac output to meet the circulatory and metabolic need of the body. There are three types of heart failures. One is systolic failure, the other one is diastolic failure, and the third one is biventricular failure. So what is systolic failure? Systolic failure is when the heart is unable to propel blood into the aorta. Increase in left-sided filling pressure results in dyspnea from pulmonary congestion. Diastolic failure, failure to receive inadequate amount of blood is called diastolic failure. It is recognized by clinical features of tender hepatomegaly and edema. Biventricular failure or CHF is both right and left side failure. What is acute heart failure? So acute heart failure develops suddenly in dysarrhythmia, i.e. myocarditis, rupture of chordae tendineae, acute valvular regurgitation and MI. And there is chronic heart failure which has gradual onset such as congenital or progressive valvular heart disease. There is also high output heart failure in which happens in anemia, thyrotoxicosis, AV shunt, beriberi and gram-negative sepsis. Low output failure happens in hypertrophy, dilation and tachycardia. Sometimes due to digoxin also it can cause. Compensated heart failure. So in patients with impaired cardiac function whose compensatory and adaptive changes in the heart and circulation have prevented development of heart failure. So what are the causes of heart failure? So in infants and children, the cardiac causes are increased preload. So increased preload can be seen in VSD, ASD, PDA. Increased afterload. Conditions such as coarctation of aorta, pulmonary stenosis, hypoplastic left heart causes increased afterload which leads to heart failure. There can be mixed heart failure which can be due to TGA, endocardial fibroelastosis, tachyarrhythmias such as SVT, impaired myocardial function such as myocarditis and cardiomyopathy. There are certain non-cardiac causes which can precipitate heart failures such as asphyxia, metabolic acidosis, respiratory infection, septicemia, anemia, hypoglycemia, fluid overload, acute hypertension. Older children and adolescents, the causes are slightly different such as rheumatic fever, acute hypertension, acute glomerulonephritis, viral myocarditis, endocarditis, cardiomyopathy or cor pulmonale. Anemia can also be one of the causes which can precipitate heart failure. Diastolic dysfunction can be caused by mitral or tricuspid stenosis, constrictive pericarditis, restrictive cardiomyopathy, acute volume overload, myocardial ischemia, marked ventricular hypertrophy, dilated cardiomyopathy. Systolic causes of systolic heart failure are CHD, myocarditis, paroxysmal tachycardia, anemia. Miscellaneous causes can be infection, hypoglycemia, hypocalcemia, neonatal asphyxia. If CHD does not develop CCF within the first year of life, he or she is not likely to do so in the next 10 years unless complicated by anemia, infection or IE. Left to right shunt. CCF around 6 to 8 weeks of life. At birth, pulmonary vascular resistance is high. So we will now see what kind of lesions we get at what time of life. From birth to 72 hours, there can be HLHS, volume overload lesions such as tricuspid or pulmonary insufficiency, large systemic atriovenous fistula. 4 days to 1 week there can be TGA, PDA in small premature infants, HLHS, TAPVR, critical AS or PS, systemic atrioventricular fistula. From 1 to 4 weeks, coarctation of aorta, critical AS, VSD and PDA can cause CCF. 4 to 6 weeks, some left to right shunt lesions such as DCD. 6 to 4 weeks, 6 weeks to 4 months, large VSD, large PDA, left coronary artery from PA. Arrhythmias can be paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. 3/4 of the patients are below 4 months of age. Male gender is predisposed. Heart rate above 180 per minute tend to precipitate CCF. No failure in first 24 hours. If tachycardia persists for 20% of CCF and 50% of 48 hours. Primary myocardial disease causing CCF include glycogen storage disease, endocardial fibroelastosis, median necrosis of coronary artery, anomalous left coronary artery from pulmonary artery. So what can the clinical manifestation be? So a child can come with a history of poor feeding of recent onset, tachypnea that worsen during feeding, poor weight gain and cold sweat on the forehead is suggestive of CCF in infants. Older children may complain of shortness of breath, especially with activity, easy fatigability, puffy eyelids or swollen feet. So there are signs in left-sided failure, failure of either side or right-sided failure. So in left-sided failure, tachypnea, tachycardia, cough, wheezing, raised in chest is common. Right-sided failure, there can be hepatomegaly, facial edema, JVP engorgement, edema on feet. And either side failure causes cardiac enlargement, gallop rhythm, peripheral cyanosis, small volume pulse, absence of weight gain. In physical examination, the following are compensatory responses to impaired cardiac functions, such as tachycardia, gallop rhythm, and a weak, steady pulse. Cardiomegaly can be there. We can see through the apex beat, position of the apex beat. Signs of sympathetic discharges, such as growth failure, precipitation, cold, wet skin, perspiration. So there is New York Heart Association classification. Class 1 says patient with cardiac disease but without resulting limitation of physical activity. Ordinary physical activity does not cause undue fatigue, palpitation, dyspnea or anginal pain. Class 2, patient with cardiac disease resulting in slight limitation of physical activity. They are comfortable at rest. Ordinary physical activity results in fatigue, palpitation, dyspnea or angina pain. Class 3, patients with cardiac disease resulting in marked limitation of physical activity. They are comfortable at rest. Less than ordinary activity causes fatigue, palpitation, dyspnea or anginal pain. Class 4, patients with cardiac disease resulting in inability to carry on any physical activity without discomfort. Symptoms of heart failure or anginal symptoms may be present even at rest. If any failure activity is undertaken, discomfort is increased. So in investigation, we have to determine the cause of heart failure. We will get an X-ray. X-ray we can see cardiomegaly. ECG can be suggestive of chamber hypertrophy, dysarrhythmias. And echocardiography. In echocardiography we can see valvular disease and left ventricular function. Blood tests such as full blood count, urea and electrolytes, liver biochemistry and thyroid function should also be done. ABG is also a must. This is the chest X-ray. So in chest X-ray we can see enlarged hilar vessels, prominence of upper lobe blood vessels, reticular shadowing of alveolar edema, septal or curly line B, and enlarged cardiac silhouette, usually with coexisting chronic heart failure. Management. CCF means inadequate cardiac output. Correction of inadequate cardiac output should be the aim of our management. The four prongs are reducing cardiac workload, augmenting myocardial contractility, improving cardiac performance by reducing the heart size, correcting the underlying cause. Reducing cardiac work. We can reduce the cardiac work by restricting activities, crop the position up to 30 degrees, humidified oxygen supply. Temperature should be maintained between 36 to 37. Circulatory and metabolic needs are minimal in this temperature. Sedatives should be given such as morphine, diazepam to calm the patient and to reduce the pain. It reduces anxiety as well. Fever, anemia or infection increases the work of heart, so we have to control these. So in congestive heart failure, there is decreased cardiac output, there is vasoconstriction. Due to vasoconstriction, venous tone increases, therefore venous return is increased. If venous return is increased, there is increased work of heart. In arteries, there is increased systemic vascular resistance, which causes increase in afterload. Therefore, both causes increased work of heart. So basically, we have to decrease the peripheral resistance, decrease venous result, which when we decrease the venous result, it causes decreased pulmonary congestion, decreased dyspnea, better work capacity. And by decreasing the peripheral resistance, the cardiac output increases, improve the tissue oxygenation, fatigue also decreases. So we use ACE inhibitors. ACE inhibitors are captopril, enalapril. Vasodilators suppresses renin-angiotensin aldosterone system, reducing vasoconstriction and salt water retention. These prevent arrhythmias by suppressing catecholamines. Side effect can be cough. Use of angiotensin receptor blockers such as losartan. We can use that for cough. First dose hypotension can occur in many patients. 1/4 of the calculated dose should be given, remaining recommended for the first 6 hours. Monitor the renal function, urine analysis, blood level for creatinine and electrolyte once a week for 6 to 8 weeks. Beta blockers such as metoprolol, carvedilol might precipitate CCF. They improve symptoms and survival, especially in patients with dilated cardiomyopathy who continue to have tachycardia. Calcium channel blockers have adverse effect in heart failure and should be avoided unless indicated for systemic hypotension. Sodium nitroprusside. Sodium nitroprusside is used in acute care setting as a vasodilator since it acts on the venous and arterial system. So it is used in acute symptoms. Phosphodiesterase inhibitors such as milrinone have become popular especially in post-operative period. These agents have powerful vasodilatory and inotropic effect. Augmentin of myocardial contractility. Inotropic drugs such as digitalis increases cardiac output, decreases heart rate, increases myocardial contractility. In infant and children, only digoxin is used. Available oral digoxin 0.25 mg tablets as digoxin XLL. 1 ml is equal to 0.5 mg is available. Parenteral digoxin 0.5 mg per 2 ml. Its dose is 70% of the oral dose. What is digitalization? So in digitalization, half of the calculated digitalizing dose is given at first. Another 1/4 is given at 6 to 8 hours and the remaining 1/4 in another 6 to 8 hours is given. Maintenance dose varies from 1/4 to 1/3 of the digitalizing dose on the next day. Toxicity includes increased PR interval indicated by increased PR interval by 50%. So we have to continuously do ECG monitoring in patients who we have done digitalization. Do ECG before the third daily dose. Toxicity can be controlled by omitting the next 1 or 2 doses. So we should use in caution in premature babies, CCF due to myocarditis, cyanotic patient. So this is the dose, digitalizing dose and maintenance dose in premature neonates 1 month to 1 year, 1 to 3 years and above 3 years. Other inotropic agents are, there are 2 groups. Catecholamine inotrope like dopamine, dobutamine and adrenaline. Phosphodiesterase inhibitor like ambrinon and milrinone. Combined inotropic effect with peripheral vasodilation. Low blood pressure. Dopamine is used in low blood pressure. Dopamine at a dose of less than 5 micrograms per kg per minute. It can cause peripheral vasodilation and increases myocardial contractility. Renal blood flow improves, resulting in natriuresis. Dobutamine is 2.5 to 115 microgram per kg per minute. The dose should be increased gradually until the desired response is achieved. In patients with dilated cardiomyopathy, dobutamine is used as 24-hour infusion once or twice a week and retains its effectiveness for varying length of time. How do we improve cardiac performance by reducing venous return, that is preload? So we use diuretics. Diuretics reduce the blood volume. They reduce the total body sodium, thereby reducing the blood pressure and peripheral vascular resistance. Decrease venous return and ventricular filling. This tends to reduce the heart size. The larger the heart, the more the wall tension and the poorer its performance. With the reduction in heart size and volume, the myocardial function and the cardiac output improves. The action of oral furosemide starts within 20 minutes. Furosemide should be used in combination with the potassium-sparing diuretic instead of using a potassium supplement. Furosemide activates the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone axis, which is responsible for vasoconstriction and sodium and water retention. When furosemide is combined with ACE inhibitors, the combination suppresses the axis and is therefore synergistic. Salt restriction. Sodium restriction is difficult to implement in infants and young children. Low sodium diet should be used only if the heart failure cannot be controlled with digitalis, diuretics and ACE inhibitors. However, it is prudent to advise such patients to avoid salt-rich food such as chips, pickle. Since heart failure increases calorie requirement, adequate intake is advised. And we should also correct the underlying cause such as through surgery, correcting the arrhythmia and also metabolic causes. So now we know how to manage CCF. Thank you.